Hi, everybody. We are going to go back into the Australian Advent calendar today, specifically the 46% EXO from Beenleigh from 2023, which is a 10-year-old. Now, that is this little guy here. Now, Beenleigh tends to, it's one of the two distilleries you know the most about in Australia. The other one, of course, is Bundaberg. And Bundaberg tends to have a bad reputation for making low class hooch for the masses. They have been upping their game of late, and I know that the Black Reserve isn't too bad. The Overproof has got its own little vibe going that I quite like. That's actually the Overproof here, which looks very similar to the original. But Beenleigh has gone a different route, and they are actually supplying a fair amount of stuff to the independents through Share or whoever. And that means that we tend to get a little bit more than usual. So, for example, this is from Cadenhead. They've done a 12-year-old Beenleigh, and I know that the Boutique Rum Company has got a couple out there, and one or two others are definitely there. I think Berry Brothers and Rudd might even have one. I'm not entirely sure. There's more, though, and that tends to give that imprimatur of quality to it. This sample from the Advent calendar for 2023 kind of proves the point, because this is quite an interesting and a very, very tasty rum. As I say, it's 10 years old. It's pot and column still. It is done with their own yeast, and then it's aged in two different kinds of barrels. One of them is Australian ex-brandy, and the other one is ex-bourbon American oak. I'm not entirely sure how many barrels of each they did this, but they did say 4 barrels at the end of the day, which would suggest you're going to get somewhere like about 1,000 bottles, give or take, maybe a bit less. The tastes are really quite interesting. They are phenomenal, to be quite honest with you. I really, really enjoyed this. Oh man, this has got so much going on in there for 46%. It's quite amazing, and I would suggest that you're going to get some honey, you're going to get some lychees, you're going to get some nice tart fruit like guineps and papaya and watermelon, mixing it up a little bit with heavier, darker fruits, perhaps some apricots, some very ripe apples, some very dark, almost going off cherries, that kind of thing. It's nice. It's really, really quite well put together, and the taste is similar. A lot of this stuff comes forward. You're not losing anything, and that is really quite amazing when you think about it. Doesn't hurt going down. It's 4 to 6%, goes easy. It's quite firm, soft, approachable. Again, you're getting the tartness of the lychees and the guineps and the unripe mangoes, if you will, yellow but not green. Mixing it up with some honey notes, caramel, cinnamon, vanilla. You know, all the usual hits are playing here with a little bit of extra just to give it a flirt. There's a little bit of cardboard. There's a little bit of honey again. It is nice, and the finish is it just stays with you without actually overstaying its welcome. It is one of the better rums from Beenleigh that I have tried, and I've tried quite a few, even though if I haven't reviewed all of them. The sticking point for you might be one, availability, and two, price. I'm not sure whether this is truly available significantly outside of Australia, and I also don't know whether it is going to be priced accordingly as it does in Australia. Now, in Australia, they've got fairly high taxes, so this thing costs $160 Australian there, which equates to about 110 US dollars. I suspect by the time freight charges are put in and the taxes and duties and everything else, this thing is going to go for a bit higher. And the real question I have, given that it's 10-year-old and came out in 2023, is whether it's related to the La Maison and Vellier 2013 10-year-old rum that they put out last year. You know, in their little collection, the Antipodes, I think it was, or whatever, from that we saw at Whiskey Life and that the VSG had. Be that as it may, that one wasn't too bad, but I think this one is just a little bit better. Unfortunately, I couldn't try them together, but I do have very good tasting notes on both. This is just one of those rums that I think we should try to pay some more attention to. It really kind of shines up Beenleigh's reputation a bit more, and it's just one of those rums that we should try to get if we possibly can, largely because we don't get these kinds of complex tasting notes at 4 to 6% very often. Without some kind of secondary maturation in yet another type of barrel, or a tertiary maturation for that matter. So, yeah, I'm giving it a pretty good endorsement. I rated it 87 points, which I think is perfectly right. A little bit more, a little bit less, depending on taste, I suppose, but it really does make Australian rums take that extra step, and there's just nothing that I see Bundaberg has in its portfolio right now that comes close to it, to be quite honest. And they've got some interesting ones, but nothing like this. So give it a shot if you can, and I hope you like it. And if you disagree, just leave a note and let me know, and we will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.